Nobody expected it. Nobody predicted it. And the scariest part? The signs were hiding in plain sight. The OTF leak that just shook the entire rap ecosystem didn't come from some random blogger. It didn't come from the feds. It didn't even come from the streets. It came from inside the circle. And when the story broke, one question hit harder than any diss track ever could. Why did Durk stay quiet? This wasn't a minor rumor. This wasn't another unnamed source. This was receipts, voice notes, private group chat screenshots, deleted Instagram stories recovered like digital fossils, and one 7-second clip that insiders swear Durk himself didn't even know existed. A clip that allegedly exposed a backroom conversation involving OTF business moves, unspoken tensions, loyalty tests, and a decision that could rewrite Chicago rap history. Fans are shocked. Social media is spiraling. Industry execs are doing damage control at 3 a.m. Rappers who once screamed OTF 4L are now subtweeting like they were never signed. The streets are confused, the internet is on fire, and the only man who could actually kill the narrative is sitting back, hoodie up, glasses on, posting motivational gym quotes like nothing ever happened. But silence in rap, that's never neutral. Silence is strategic. Silence is suspicious. Silence means either you're 10 steps ahead, or the truth is 10 times worse than the leak. Some say Durk stayed quiet because the leak came from someone untouchable. Others claim the quiet is proof that the conversation was too real to deny. And a few wild voices are whispering something even darker. Durk didn't respond because responding would have confirmed the betrayal was already complete. Either way, this is the kind of moment that splits families, friendships, labels, and fan bases. And trust me, when we haven't even reached the earthquake yet, this was just the warning tremor. The night the leak hit felt scripted by chaos itself. It was 1:47 a.m. Central Time when the first screenshot started circulating. Grainy, cropped, and carrying the kind of weight that makes your stomach drop before your brain even processes what you're reading. It was a text bubble from a supposed internal OTF group chat labeled family only, no phones in meetings. The irony burned, because clearly someone had a phone in the meeting. The message read like a warning disguised as business talk. We moving different next quarter. Loyalty gotta show, not just get claimed. Contracts getting revisited. Everyone ain't built to finish the marathon. No name attached. But the timing? Brutal. Just hours after Durk's public appearance at a charity event where he hugged fans, signed merch, and told the crowd, "We locked in forever." OTF is blood, not a brand. The internet did what it does best. Connected dots that may or may not exist, drew lines with gasoline instead of ink, and lit it all up for entertainment. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Every corner of the algorithm screamed the same theory. This was aimed at someone specific in OTF, and Durk knew exactly who. The next leak came faster, sharper, louder. A voice note, 12 seconds long, distorted slightly, but not enough to hide the emotion underneath. A man's voice, rumored to be an OTF affiliate, saying, "You can't call everybody family when some of these dudes is payroll. Real bonds don't need renewing." That line alone traveled like a virus with wings, because it hit a universal fear in rap. Who's really gang and who's really budget? And then came the real dagger, a private Instagram story that had been deleted within minutes, but somehow recovered, allegedly posted by an OTF member's burner account. Black background, white text, no emojis, no jokes, just the kind of sentence that ruins sleep schedules. Some crowns come with coffins. Some kings don't know they sitting at the wrong table. Fans were stunned. The blogs went feral, but Durk, quiet. Not a tweet, not a story, not a live. No denial, no anger, no cryptic response track. Just silence. The same silence he used years ago when rumors about industry snakes tried to bait him into responding before he was ready. But this time felt different, because this time the rumor wasn't about someone outside OTF. It was about the foundation itself. Inside Chicago, whispers moved faster than Wi-Fi. Local producers started telling stories about studio sessions feeling tense lately. One engineer claimed Durk used to sit in the booth with everybody. Now he watches from the couch, arms folded, like he's auditing energy instead of recording it. A stylist mentioned how Durk recently requested less OTF branding on outfits for personal appearances. Not because he disowned it, but because the logo is louder than the questions right now. OTF wasn't just a label, it was an identity, a membership, a movement, a lifeline. A brotherhood marketed through pain and prosperity, and now that marketing was cracking like old concrete. Of this saga isn't just about a leak, it's about why leaks matter more than the truth sometimes. Because leaks don't have to be accurate to be destructive, they just have to be believable and emotional, and this one had narrative bones. Let's rewind a little. OTF, Only the Family, didn't start in boardrooms. It started in trauma, trenches, and trust. Durk built it with people he grew up with, bled with, and buried losses with. The world watched it grow from neighborhood alliance to global rap powerhouse. Signed artists, platinum plaques, tours, collabs, corporate partnerships. OTF became the blueprint for loyalty-driven branding in hip-hop. But here's the twist the internet loves. The bigger the family, the blurrier the bloodlines. According to alleged insiders, the internal tension started months before the leak. It began with contracts, not the kind you sign in alleys, the kind you sign with lawyers. Because as OTF expanded, paperwork became the new battlefield. And while fans still viewed OTF like a gang pack, the business side had started operating like a corporation with loyalty clauses. There was a rumored meeting in late October 2025. No cameras, no press, just the core OTF roster and management. The agenda was supposed to be simple: touring strategy and distribution splits. But according to the leaks, it turned into an emotional civil war. One unnamed source claimed the room shifted when someone said, "Growth exposes greed faster than poverty exposes loyalty." Eyes turned, chairs moved, energy iced over, because everyone knew the line had a target. Another insider whispered that one OTF member snapped back, "Don't talk like we ain't risk it all before the money. This ain't a corporation, it's a covenant." That was the first time Durk allegedly stood up, slowly, and said the line that everyone is dissecting now. Covenants still need structure if we want them to survive success. That sentence split the room like lightning with a subscription plan, because to the loyalists, it sounded like Durk was saying OTF needs tightening, because some members are loose. But to the business minds, it sounded like Durk was saying the brand has to evolve even if the family feelings don't, and that is where the algorithm smelled blood. OTF has always sold the idea of forever loyalty, forever unity, forever grief turned to glory, but forever is dangerous when success introduces ego inflation, revenue percentages, and differing visions. Suddenly, family becomes a term people weaponize to avoid accountability, or manipulate decisions, or claim moral high ground when negotiations get uncomfortable. Then came the second rumored fracture point: King Von's legacy. Von was more than OTF's spiritual muscle. He was its emotional spine. Durk carried Von's name like armor and grief like an unpaid invoice. But as the years passed, some insiders allegedly felt Von's legacy was being used as a moral lock on every OTF decision. If you questioned a move, someone would say, "Would Von approve?" And debate would end before it began. But according to leaked audio snippets floating now, someone recently dared to say, "Von ain't here to mediate new business." We gotta stop using ghosts to mute growth. That line allegedly never reached Durk directly, because the person who said it realized instantly, some sentences don't get forgiven, they get archived in enemies' hearts. And that brings us back to the silence, because rumor says Durk didn't stay quiet because he was guilty. He stayed quiet because he was calculating the source, not the accusation. The internet, though, turned the silence into a verdict. YouTube creators, armchair psychologists, gang culture professors with Wi-Fi degrees, and fans who treat loyalty like religion started spinning the same theory. Durk's silence means the leak didn't lie. But that's what makes this so viral. The truth is optional, emotion is mandatory, but the suspense was just loading, because after the voice notes, screenshots, and deleted stories, one more rumor started climbing the algorithm ladder, like it paid for premium. OTF didn't just get leaked, it got infiltrated. Not by rivals, not by cops, but by someone who once toasted loyalty in the same room Durk called home. And that's not just drama, that's dynasty danger. The infiltration theory didn't start loud, it started credible. In rap culture, credibility spreads slower than rumors, but once it sticks, it hardens like cement in winter. The word floating around wasn't snitch, wasn't snake, wasn't even op. It was the most dangerous label you can give someone in hip-hop, planted. According to the alleged leaks, someone inside OTF didn't just break trust, they broke the first rule of the inner circle: no recording, no receipts, no digital shadows. And yet the evidence appeared like someone hit export chat history with no fear of consequences. The streets and the internet reacted differently, but both reactions fed the algorithm perfectly. On the street side, it was confusion first, anger second. A local DJ said off camera during a late night set, OTF don't usually get exposed like this unless the person exposing already accepted the exit price, meaning whoever leaked it knew they weren't staying. In the comment sections, a different kind of fire. Fans typed in disbelief, Durk raised these dudes and they recording meetings? OTF leak feels personal, not federal. Silence is confirmation, and the most repeated line, copy-pasted like scripture. Real bonds don't come with revisions unless trust already expired. The algorithm loved it. Long emotional statements. High conflict keywords, speculation phrased like fact, engagement heaven, but here's where the plot thickened into legendary territory. A producer named Mally on the Beat, name now attached to 50% Truth, 50% Mystique, claimed that the leak originated from a session file, not a phone. He swore up and down that the 7-second clip came from a microphone that was accidentally left armed in Pro Tools during a business conversation, exporting background audio into a bounce. If that's true, it means the leak wasn't premeditated. It was technical negligence that someone weaponized. Negligence becomes intent if you use it right. Another alleged insider, a former security member, said something that made this story turn cinematic. OTF meetings started feeling like interrogations, not celebrations. Durk wasn't asking who was disloyal, he was asking who was reliable enough to inherit pressure. That distinction matters, because a pressure test isn't betrayal, unless you fail it. Now we move to Durk's side of the story, the part that hasn't leaked, but everyone thinks they know. People close to the camp said Durk didn't react publicly because his reaction was happening privately at 100x intensity. One source claimed he locked himself in the studio not to record music, but to re-listen to every recent session to identify the voice, the tone, the cadence, the breathing pattern behind the leaked audio. That's some real detective timing. Durk knows voices like producers know 808 patterns. A manager from another label even commented publicly, Durk plays chess but hates the spotlight on the board. He'll reveal checkmate, never the strategy. That's exactly the kind of sentence fans screenshot and treat like prophecy. Meanwhile, the emotional fallout inside OTF was apparently erupting like a reality TV reunion episode. One member allegedly confronted another in a hallway at a pop-up event. The dialogue was reported like this. Member A, you was in the room when Durk said loyalty got a show. Why your tones sound nervous in the leak? Member B, nervous ain't guilty. Nervous means I know the consequences if the room misreads me. Member A, OTF don't misread energy. OTF memorizes it. Ice cold bars, but allegedly spoken, not rapped. And then the story took another twist. Family involvement. Durk's brother, D Thang, legacy still echoing heavy, was invoked indirectly when fans noticed Durk reposted an old interview clip where he said years ago, I don't fear ops. I fear empty chairs where loyalty used to sit. That wasn't posted during the leak. It was posted days before, which makes the internet think he felt something coming. Durk has intuition like Wi-Fi has range. It connects before you realize it's there. Fans also noticed India Royale liked and then unliked a tweet that said, Durk protects the brand by protecting the truth, not reacting to lies. That 0.5 second digital breadcrumb sent fans spiraling into another theory. India knows the source too, but respects the silence code. When the women in rap stay quiet, it usually means the men are handling something nuclear. And now the fans are asking a deeper question. Was Durk quiet because he was exposed? Or because he was protecting someone who didn't even deserve protection anymore? Because rumor says one member in that meeting wasn't just family by label, he was family by history, childhood, and unpayable debt. And that kind of person doesn't get responded to on Twitter. That kind of person gets responded to with consequences or forgiveness, both delivered offline. OTF fans don't just follow music, they follow mythology. Of this story is where mythology started sounding like minutes from a meeting, because by the end of the night the leak hit. OTF wasn't trending for songs, it was trending for succession, suspicion, silence, and structural survival. And Durk's silence, it wasn't empty. It was a countdown the internet could feel, but not here. By now, the narrative had evolved from leak to legacy threat. This wasn't gossip anymore. This was brand DNA being put under a microscope, zoomed in, sharpened, and blasted across timelines like breaking news with a trap beat behind it, and is where the story stops feeling like a crack in the wall and starts feeling like someone testing if the entire building is earthquake-proof. The biggest twist yet came when fans noticed the pattern. Every leak dropped right before Durk had something positive going public. Charity event, billboard interview, a motivational speech clip, a feature announcement. It was like someone wanted to leak the leader when the brand was shining. The algorithm loves contrast. Angels trending next to allegations, inspiration next to infiltration, loyalty next to litigation. Whoever dropped those leaks understood virality psychology better than the average A&R understands talent. Now the rumor shifts into its most entertaining form. This was never about exposing Durk. This was about destabilizing OTF so someone else could rise in the aftermath. Because in every Empire story, the villain isn't always the loudest. Sometimes it's the quietest beneficiary. According to alleged insiders, one OTF artist had recently been pushing for more creative control, more release priority, and a bigger narrative seat. Let's call him OTF Phantom for now, because that's literally what the blog started calling him. The invisible hand in the situation. Phantom was supposedly frustrated that Durk carries the emotional core of the label, Vaughn carries the posthumous loyalty, D. Thang carries the martyr legacy, and everyone else carries the payroll badge. Phantom allegedly said during a private studio dispute, "I don't want to be a chapter in OTF. I want to be a headline, but headlines have a cost, especially when the current headline holder refuses to vacate the title." Another dramatic moment that supposedly fueled Durk's silence happened during a studio session where someone from the team confronted him about going public with a response track. The alleged dialogue went like this. Engineer, bro, the blogs are dragging this. Drop a statement, a bar. Something. Durk, leaning back. If I bark at every rumor, the wolves start thinking I speak their language. Engineer, so you just go and sit there. Durk, nah, I'm just choosing who hears me. That line went viral without even being officially confirmed. Fans ate it up like communion wafers dipped in 808 sauce. Meanwhile, the OTF camp was reportedly fracturing emotionally. OTF artist Buka allegedly went off on a call with a cousin who was pushing the betrayal narrative. Cousin. Bro, the leak made y'all look shaky. Buka. Shaky? We survived Chicago. Paperwork can't kill what bullets didn't. Cousin. Unless the paperwork came from someone aiming. Buka. That's what we finding out. And boom, another quote that spread like wildfire. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided, literally, because some members allegedly wanted damage control, others wanted revenge on the source, a few wanted internal reform, and Durk wanted identification before execution. And here's the genius moment of suspense that locked this story into algorithm immortality. A leaked image, unverified but convincing, showed Durk in the studio. Screen glowing, audio waves visible, magnified with the caption added later by fans. He not ignoring the leak, he analyzing the leak. That caption carried the story for days, because fans love a protagonist who doesn't panic. They love a protagonist who hunts quietly and reveals loudly. Another twist, Durk reportedly called a private sit-down with only 3 people after the leak dropped. No entourage, no cameras, no leaks. And the internet interpreted that like a secret season finale filming, because if it was nothing, why limit the witnesses? If it was small, why shrink the circle? In rap, exclusivity means severity. A Chicago radio host said during a live segment, and when Durk goes quiet, it means the city about to get loud. And that line alone carried enough dramatic energy to power a week of content. Closes with the biggest emotional cliffhanger yet. The leaks may have exposed words, but Durk's silence suggested he was protecting consequences. And consequences are the only language the internet respects more than receipts. By this point, the silence around Durk had become louder than any press run. It wasn't absence, it was presence without explanation. Fans weren't just refreshing timelines anymore, they were refreshing meaning. In the rap news world, the story itself had mutated from a leak into a legend, and legends demand sacrifice, villains, motives, and a ticking clock. Is where the clock finally got a name. The internet started noticing Durk's daily rhythm like it was a cryptic rollout schedule. Gym post at 6 a.m., studio clip at 11 p.m., family pic on Wednesdays, motivational quote on Fridays. and every single post carried the same subconscious subtext: unbothered, observant, intentional. The algorithm rewards consistency, especially when the audience is trying to decode it like a hidden album track. Then came the secondary character arc explosion, the rest of OTF reacting to the quiet like the label was a ship caught between waves and whispers. OTF artist OTF Duty Low allegedly went on a private Discord space, audio not leaked but summarized by attendees, and said, "Durk ain't quiet because he's scared. Durk quiet because he deciding who still get to speak OTF after this." That line hit like a brand relicensing warning. Meanwhile, OTF Timo reportedly told a fan in a meet and greet line, "You can't leak loyalty. Loyalty leaks liars." Fans were stunned. Merch lines paused. Security looked alert. The kind of line that sounds like wisdom but smells like threat. But the biggest algorithm meal came when King Von fan accounts resurfaced an old unreleased verse snippet that went, "Don't check the rumor, check the room. Snakes hiss different when kings ain't amused." The internet swore it was prophetic. It might have been coincidence, but prophecy sells better than proof. Then came the plot twist that made this story feel personal, generational, and dangerous. A new leak suggested that the original OTF group chat wasn't hacked. It was backed up to someone's iCloud by accident months ago. Not maliciously saved, just automatically synced. But someone later got access to that backup and realized they had a narrative bomb in their possession. And here's the twist. The person who accessed it wasn't an op. It was someone who once called Durk brother in 2011. Before the chains, before the tours, before the corporations tried courting OTF like it was a Fortune 500 street alliance. Let's call him OTF Roots, a childhood affiliate who never officially signed but always felt signed by history. Roots allegedly reached out after the leak dropped. No text proof, no voice note bounce, just a reported phone conversation summarized by a close friend. Friend, you gonna let this leak ride? Roots, ride. I steered it. Friend, you trying to expose him? Roots, I'm trying to expose who he trusts more than who he protects. That wasn't a betrayal motive. That was a character test disguised as chaos, because Roots apparently felt sidelined by success. Not angry at Durk for winning, angry at the order in which people got to win next to him. In rap dynasties, jealousy doesn't always come from the enemy. It comes from the people who thought they'd be crowned earlier in the sequence. Then the internet dug into a detail that made this story feel like a reality TV producer was editing it. Roots and Durk allegedly had a falling out in 2025 over a business move involving distribution rights for a local Chicago artist that Roots was mentoring. Roots wanted Durk to co-sign publicly. Durk wanted to co-sign strategically. The co-sign never happened. The mentee deal fizzled. Roots blamed silence then too. So when Durk went silent now, Roots interpreted it like history repeating itself, but this time with screenshots. Meanwhile, Durk was allegedly telling his team privately, "Leakers want attention. I want the address." Because Durk doesn't fight narratives. He fights sources. Narratives are smoke. Sources are oxygen. Remove the oxygen, the fire confesses itself. OTF lawyers also reportedly had a small but intense reaction. They didn't care about the gossip. They cared about the implication that internal conversations were being recorded, backed up, or weaponized. A legal consultant said on a podcast, "If those messages are real, the legal risk isn't betrayal, it's documentation." But to fans, documentation is betrayal. And now we hit the family divide that made the story explode algorithmically. Durk's cousin Nusky's sister allegedly posted a cryptic tweet: "Bloodlines don't expire, but access does." Fans ran with the interpretation. Durk cutting off someone's proximity, not their history. OTF wasn't breaking up, it was resorting. And here's the final cliffhanger beat of the leak, revealed that OTF has fractures. Durk's silence revealed he already knew the fractures existed. He just didn't know which crack had the loudest echo, because whoever leaked it didn't just want exposure. They wanted reaction, and Durk refused to give them the only thing more valuable than truth in rap media: predictability. So let's wrap this up, because this story is still breathing, and the internet is still debating like the case files just dropped yesterday. The OTF leak was the shockwave nobody saw loading. The betrayal rumors spread like they were sponsored by drama itself, and through all the noise, Lil Durk stayed quiet, not because he had nothing to say, but because he had too much to lose by speaking too early. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high. The family was left divided between damage control, loyalty, nostalgia, and source suspicion. Some still believe the leak was accidental audio that got weaponized later. Others think it was a calculated chess move by someone who once felt entitled to the crown. And the wildest theory of all, Durk didn't respond because he wasn't fighting the story. He was hunting the storyteller. But here's the truth: under all the viral glitter, silence in rap is never empty. It's either a shield or a sniper scope. And Durk has proven for years he only speaks when it shifts the scoreboard, not the timeline. Now it's your turn to talk. If this story had you hooked from the jump, hit that like button. If you want more real mix fake rap news breakdowns that shake the culture, subscribe right now and turn notifications on so you never miss when the next bomb drops. And most importantly, drop a comment and tell us what you think. Was Durk protecting someone, waiting to expose the source? Or is the quiet the calm before the biggest Chicago storm yet? You're part of the conversation now. The culture moves when you move. So speak up, tap in, and let us know whose side you're on.